And we're live. Status Coup in the house. Jordan, on this Thanksgiving Eve, big show ahead here. Let me send out a text message so everybody could gobble in on this big Turkey Award show. One of my favorite broadcasts of the year. Please smash that like button. Tell your friends, spread the word. Let's have a fun time today, giving you the top political turkeys of the year, which I'm about to explain what that means. Press that like button, share the live stream. More people that press like, more people that press share, the more people that will see that we're live. Hold on, sending out the text message now. 1-4-2-5-6-5-9. Okay, text message is out. I will wait for people to gobble in to this live stream. Obviously, we're going to have some fun today, but we also need to state plainly this is a serious time. So although we're going to have some fun, joke around, all those things, we do want to say off the top that right now coronavirus is raging and out of control in America. And obviously that's heavy on my mind. I'll give you an update on Jen in just a little bit. So definitely press the like button and share this live stream so we could get this to as many people as possible. I'm going to wait a couple minutes for more folks to trickle in. Let me know if you got the text message in the super chat. This is a super chat. We already got the Thanksgiving emojis. Community in the house. All right. I think we need some fun. It's been a really difficult year for me, for you, for everybody. So definitely, we're going to have some fun and name the top turkeys of the year. And I think my selection for the top turkey might surprise you, actually. But I think this person is just perfect. So just going to wait for the audience to go up a little bit before I start. Right, you guys got the text message, so I can get rid of that. Share this live stream. YouTube seems to, right while we're on the cusp of 100,000 subscribers, it seems all of a sudden YouTube is hiding us again. Isn't that interesting? So definitely share this live stream, smash the like button, all those good things. I want to also give you an update on Jen. Showed you the picture yesterday. Here is poor Jen, sick. She went to the office today to get a physical coronavirus test. Should have it in 2 or 3 days, but we're both almost positive she has it. Her fever is down, so that's positive. I think it was over 100 this morning, which is better than 101.6. She had a 101.6 yesterday, so it's down in the hundreds today. Her cough has gotten worse, so that's not good, and still very fatigued. But, obviously we're operating until we get the test back, operating under the assumption she does have coronavirus because she has all the symptoms. And it did come out today that Boris Epstein, who is one of the maskless morons that were speaking with Rudy Giuliani at the press conference that Jen covered last week in D.C., he was kind of the tall, bulky-looking Russian dude. He announced this morning that he has coronavirus. So the timeline makes sense. Boris was there next to a maskless Rudy, next to a maskless Sidney Powell. Rudy's son, Andrew Giuliani, was there, maskless, and he announced he had coronavirus the next day. So Boris is now the second person, at least publicly, from that event that has announced that they have tested positive with COVID. So it's very likely Jen's symptoms right now are coronavirus. I think it's positive that her fever has gone down since yesterday, so obviously going down, step in the right direction, although the cough getting worse is not good. She's resting right now. I know she really, really appreciates all of the kind emails you've been sending in. So definitely feel free. Email info@statuscoup.com with your well wishes. I know she's reading them as she can, but she basically told me that she feels like she's a horse who's been knocked out. Just walking to the bathroom. And I know going to get a test today took a lot out of her. So she should have the test back, hopefully, in the next day or two. So, got 115 people watching already. Please, please, smash the like button. More people that press the like button, the more people that will see this. Gobble, gobble. Allie, who is Jen's mother, by the way, $3 in the super chat. So thank you, Allie. John, $5. Thank you so much for Jen. And she did. I'm not making this up. She did ask me. It would make her feel better, she said. Not making it up. GoFundMe and Super Chat. So definitely support. Thank you, Rose, $10 a couple hours ago. And Theodore, $25. So keep on donating if you can. Obviously, if you can't, we totally get it. So before we get to the fun, want to make sure you guys know, even though we're going to have some fun today, I think we all deserve it. It's a very serious time. Yesterday, we had 167,000 COVID cases, over 2,000 deaths in this country, which obviously is, I think it's the highest since June. So we are getting back to a death count from the beginning of this pandemic. And unfortunately, due to all of the people, I think, insanely, frankly, traveling, airports are packed. I think the cases are going to skyrocket after Thanksgiving, and I think, unfortunately, deaths are going to go up. So obviously, we will stay on it. But today is about having a little fun. Thanksgiving, which I prefer to refer to as Indigenous Peoples Day. Thanksgiving is about turkey and family. Unfortunately, a lot of people can't be with their family this year. But politically speaking, I've been doing this for a couple years now. I think that there's a lot of turkeys in politics. And what I mean by turkeys, and kudos to Colin for these great graphics, a political turkey. The awards today are going to go. The definition of a political turkey is a goon, male or female, a loser, male or female, a clown, male or female, a hypocrite, male or female. And I kind of lump all of those definitions together. You mash it up like mashed potato for Thanksgiving. All those definitions go together. You mix it up, you mash it up, and that brings us to political turkeys. There's a lot of other phrases we could say. Liars, greedy, corrupt. But these are the prime definitions all mixed together that get us to our Thanksgiving political turkeys. And we got 150 people watching, so keep pressing that like button, keep sharing, all of those good things. And before I start my list, and we are going to go in order, starting with the least turkey to my number one turkey of Thanksgiving. I want to know, who's your Thanksgiving? Who's your political turkeys of the year? Let me know in the super chat. I'll read them, whether you donate or not. I'd like to know, is the audience with me? I want to know who yours are, because I think great minds think alike, and I believe some of the ones that you're about to tell me that you suggest in the chat are most likely the ones I've selected. So let me read a couple here. I'm quitting cold turkey. Let me know, who are your turkeys, politically speaking, this Thanksgiving? Let's see. Oh, I already got Elizabeth Warren. Carl, I don't want to give away who my turkeys are, but gobble gobble is all I have to say about Warren. Oh, we're getting a lot of Warrens. A lot of Warrens here. Trump, are you kidding me? Of course that's obvious, but no. I mean, I'm not going to name Trump. That would be the most predictable, obvious turkey of the century. So no, Trump's not on my list. He might be on a different list come end of the year. So we got Elizabeth Warren. Anyone who voted Biden. All right, so you're calling me a turkey. I see what you're doing there. You're attacking me already on this very, very joyous show. Cuomo, Jessica. Oh boy, did you sneak peek my list, Jessica? Did you cheat, Jessica, and take my list? Okay, Pelosi's a good one. She is. Pelosi's a good one, and her ice cream. Biden, turkey, Rudy. Oh, I mean Rudy. You could make a whole set of lists just for Rudy. Clyburn, that's a good one too. I'm seeing some folks on here. That read my mind. All right, let's start with the first political turkeys, and for some of my selections, it's a duo combination. The first political turkeys of 2020, the brother Cuomos and their nose swab, Christopher Cuomo and brother Andrew Cuomo, and their nose swabs. Why have I selected Christopher Cuomo and brother Andrew? Well, let's start with the fact that even though Governor Andrew Cuomo is apparently, he's winning an Emmy Award for his daily press conferences during coronavirus. No, I'm not. This is not The Onion. Andrew Cuomo winning an Emmy for his daily news conferences. I guess as part of that Emmy, you get to award him for not shutting down the most diverse, most populous state in the country early enough, not shutting down subways, which he had the power to do in New York City, not shutting down transportation early enough, and then sending over 6,000 COVID positive seniors back to their nursing homes to die. But I add in brother Christopher, who, by the way, if CNN had something called journalistic ethics, Chris Cuomo would not be interviewing the governor of New York, his brother, during the deadly pandemic that his brother is responsible for the most hard-hit state. Swirly Swirl, $5. The hilarious graphic. Oh, they get a lot better. Kudos to Colin. He really outdid himself with these graphics. And please share this live stream. We get almost at 200 people. I think the audience is going to be a little lower. It's Thanksgiving Eve, maybe less people online, whatever. But I want to remind you what Chris Cuomo, the fearless journalism Chris Cuomo was doing. Of course, he challenged his brother on why did you send over 6,000 COVID positive seniors back to their nursing homes? Of course he did, right? Or why did you give the executives of these nursing homes blanket liability so they would have no liability? Let's see this grilling that Chris Cuomo gave his brother Andrew from months ago.
You inhaled and the doctor's finger went all the way up your nose and got doctor's finger stirred. You inhaled. First of all, is it true that when you were having the test administered, you inhaled and the doctor's finger went all the way up your nose and got stuck and had to be released with a tool? Is that true? Just to deal with the record.
She wanted to comment that I have a little button nose, and she was afraid that the swab would actually hurt because it extended my nasal cavity.
The proboscis
she was
issue.
Speaking about the delicacy of the
nose.
Yes.
And that's what, you know what, I understand. This is the normal swab I'm holding up here now, and for everybody at home. A very valuable object. There's only one company in the entire country that makes these up in Maine. All right, here's the swab. Is it true that this was the swab that the nurse was actually using on you, and that at first it went into your nose and disappeared, so that in scale, this was the actual swab that was being used to fit up that double-barrel shotgun that you have mounted on the front of your pretty face?
See, I said I was going to be nice and sweet.
I just
and
want a yes, no.
cooperative. And
Where is Chris Cuomo's Emmy? Shouldn't he get one too? Shouldn't Chris Cuomo get an Emmy for his fearless journalism? That's challenging power. That's challenging one of the most powerful governors in the United Corporations of America and demanding to know, why would you rush over 6,000 senior citizens who were positive, who had coronavirus, back to a nursing home? Why would you do that? That's CNN's journalism during the pandemic. I don't want to knock all of their journalism. You know, some of the things they did were decent. But what's funny about this is excuse my French, while Chris Cuomo was giving journalistic sexual favors to his brother, CNN's, I guess, digital reporters actually called out the fact that Chris Cuomo had killed over 6,000 seniors, fact-checking Governor Cuomo's false claim about COVID-positive patients and nursing homes. This is from CNN, their website at least. I guess they're not allowed to say it on TV. Governor Cuomo said that nursing homes, quote, never needed to accept COVID-positive patients from hospitals in the state due to a shortage of hospital beds. During a press call Wednesday, Finger Lakes News Radio asked Cuomo about his administration's advisory in late March requiring that nursing homes accept the readmission of patients from hospitals, even if they were positive for COVID. The governor's office has repeatedly said the advisory was based on federal guidance, which prohibited discrimination based on coronavirus diagnosis. You can't make this up. Yes, such discrimination as not to send old people with COVID back to nursing homes. The state's Department of Health told CNN residents were admitting to nursing homes during that time not as an overflow facility, but because that's where they live. Cuomo said that the advisory was a precaution if hospitals became overwhelmed, calling it an anticipatory rule, which he said didn't happen. Facts first, Chris, from CNN. Cuomo's assertion that it never happened is false. According to a report from the New York State Department of Health, 6,326 COVID-positive residents were admitted to nursing home facilities following Cuomo's mandate that nursing home accept the readmission of COVID-positive patients from hospital. Whether or not this was needed, it did in fact happen. So, this governor, who MSNBC and CNN were practically slobbering over in the early days of the pandemic, made a decision because, according to his health department, that's where these seniors lived, to send them on home while they were COVID positive, not to continue to isolate them in a hospital or use the ships. Remember those ships that, to Trump's credit, he sent to New York to be a potential overflow capacity if hospitals were overrun? Could have sent the seniors there to the ships docked in New York Harbor. But no, he just sent them home. And what's interesting, didn't really hear this reported by Chris Cuomo. Cuomo gave immunity to nursing home executives after big campaign donations from said executives. See how that works? This is from David Sirota in The Guardian. As Governor Andrew Cuomo faced a spirited challenge in his bid to win the New York 2018 Democratic primary, his political apparatus got a last-minute boost. A powerful healthcare industry group suddenly poured more than $1 million into a Democratic committee backing his campaign. And less than 2 years after that flood of cash from the Greater New York Hospital Association, Cuomo signed legislation last month quietly shielding hospital and nursing home executives from the threat of lawsuits stemming from coronavirus. The provision, inserted into an annual budget bill by Cuomo's aides, created one of the nation's most explicit immunity protections for healthcare industry officials, according to legal experts. Wow, isn't that interesting? Right in the beginning of this pandemic, Governor Cuomo takes his nose swab, i.e. pen, and signs liability waivers for his donors. Give that man an Emmy. This is literally the definition, not only of failing upward in the United Corporations of America, but killing upward. You get Emmys now. Literally, you get Emmys for making decisions that kill people. Well, we shouldn't be surprised. George W. Bush got a Liberty Award, I think. Joe Biden handed it to him a couple years ago. And you want to know something? Chris Cuomo is complicit in this. I get it. It's your brother. I have two brothers. I get you want to protect them. I get it's your brother. You get defensive. You want to give him the benefit of the doubt. That's why you shouldn't be interviewing your brother, who's the governor presiding over ground zero of the coronavirus, which was New York in the early days. The fact that CNN let Chris Cuomo interview Andrew Cuomo is why you're getting this fearless journalism of nose swabs. Thank you, Nowamaka. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing. Amy McGrath, did you cheat? Did you cheat too? I don't know. Some of you are guessing, very, very, very conveniently guessing my next turkeys. Let me tell you something. In a sane political world, in a sane journalistic world, Andrew Cuomo would not be getting an Emmy. He'd be getting a recall. In a sane world, Chris Cuomo would go on air and apologize that during a deadly pandemic, I lost count of the numbers. I think over 30,000 New Yorkers died. Probably more. He's palling around with nose swabs with his corrupt brother. And that is the injustice. Listen, I don't do this for awards. I could care less if I ever get an award in journalism. They only some awards would be nice because money comes with them, and I'd love money for the company. Hint, hint. GoFundMe. But I don't care about awards. But it's shocking that in American journalism and politics, you get awards for after you made decisions that killed people. And you get primetime shows where you could basically shield your brother, the governor, from public scrutiny. So, first turkeys of the day. Andrew and Chris Cuomo. Let me know what you think. Is that an appropriate turkey for you? I think that is a correct first turkey. But we now must move on to the next part of our meal. And we got 230 people watching. Please press that like button. More people that press the like button, the more people that will see this live stream. Let me share this also live with Top Political Turkey Awards. Now, this next turkey is a very expensive one. This next turkey, very, very expensive. To the tune of $88 million. $88 million. That's one hell of an expensive turkey. But you get two for the price of none. Two for the price of none. Chuck Schumer and Amy McGrath. Gobble, gobble, gobble. Oh, God. Where do you even start with these two? Where do you even start with these two? Well, I'd like to start, actually. This didn't get a lot of attention. But before Amy McGrath even won the Democratic primary in Kentucky, there was a Kentucky radio host, Matt Jones. He's a sports host, pretty popular, I guess, in sports radio in Kentucky. He was considering running for Senate against McConnell. And apparently, Chuck Schumer got wind of this, but Chuck Schumer had already politically knighted Amy McGrath, who was fresh off of losing her congressional race. In Matt Jones's book, sorry, all I got is a tweet of this passage, so I'll just zoom in. Matt Jones recounts meeting with Chuck Schumer to go over where Chuck Schumer was basically trying to talk him out of challenging McGrath. So, Matt Jones writes, we move on to talking about Kentucky. I tell him about this book and the plan to visit all 120 counties in the state. He is shocked to learn that I am going to visit everyone in 10 weeks, noting that he hits all the counties in New York once every 2 years, as opposed to Mitch McConnell, who visits one county every 2 years. He asked me how I would go about winning if I were a candidate, and I explained my thinking. To win in Kentucky, any Democrat has to win Louisville and Lexington big, compete well in northern Kentucky, and then cut the margins in rural parts of the state. What I believe I could do differently is actually win in the mountains of eastern Kentucky. I am from there, have a strong connection to the area, and understand the issues important to them. If a Democrat can win the mountains, it changes the whole political calculus of the state. McConnell is particularly vulnerable there because of his poor record when it comes to caring for coal miners. I could tell Schumer is intrigued, Jones recounts. He cuts right down to the chase. Well, what about Amy McGrath? Can she do the same thing? So, obviously, he already had McGrath chosen as his hand-picked corporate stooge to raise a lot of money for the Democrats in the Senate, but lose to McConnell. No, she can't, he said bluntly. The launch of her campaign was horrific. No one knows what she stands for, and she is running for office by trying to avoid tough stands and align herself as more favorable to Trump than McConnell is. That is an insanely stupid strategy that no one believes is authentic or real, and if she utilizes it, she will lose by 15 points or more. He asks how I would deal with Trump's popularity, and I say, I think Kentuckians respect authenticity and honesty. I will say to Trump voters what I always say. On the issues, we agree more than we disagree. We all want better education, health care, and workers' rights. The only difference is I don't like Trump and you do. That's fine, but we both don't like Mitch. Schumer pauses and grins at me slowly. You have thought a lot about this, I could tell. He then goes on to say that while he can't say it publicly, he agrees the McGrath strategy has been poor and that the campaign doesn't listen to anyone and believes it could do it without any help whatsoever. He is frustrated with their actions. Feeling emboldened, I deliver the message I came here to say. Look, if you don't mind me being real, here's the deal. You guys picked Amy McGrath not because you thought she could win, but because you knew she would raise a lot of money and would be a big help for your national ticket due to her impressive background. You don't think anyone in Kentucky can win, so why not pick her? I get it, but the reality is Mitch McConnell is beatable, and you guys are too stubborn to realize it. You need someone who can relate to Kentucky and has a chance of convincing those Republicans who like Trump and hate McConnell to vote Democrat. I could do it. She can't. So, basically what you have here, folks, Chuck Schumer already knew. This is before Charles Booker even got into the race. Chuck Schumer already knew. There's no way Amy McGrath's going to win. Chuck Schumer already knew this was a terrible strategy. But, as Matt Jones, the radio host who was considering running, said, it was never about beating Mitch McConnell. It was about fronting the resume on this woman. She was a Marine, brave Marine. She's a woman. What else do we need? Okay, if she runs her campaign basically saying, I could push Trump's agenda better than McConnell. This is literally the ad she was running. I could push Trump's agenda more effectively than McConnell. Who cares? We'll raise a lot of money. And boy, did they raise a hell of a lot of money. Amy McGrath raised $88 million from a who's who of Wall Street scumbags, big pharma, fossil fuels, Silicon Valley, real estate developers, Basically, the whole damn bourgeoisie, on the orders of Chuck, donated $88 million. Let me tell you something. If Charles Booker had $88 million, Charles Booker would be the senator-elect because he would have defeated Mitch McConnell. What did that $88 million get, Chucky? Ooh. What is that? 19-point loss. Let's just round it to 20, shall we? 20-point loss. Amy McGrath, $88 million. Which shows you that it's all gaslighting all the time from the corporate Democratic establishment. The $88 million. Think about what $88 million could have done for a variety of political campaigns. I could think Paula Jean Swearengin could have used that $88 million. I would have preferred it not coming from bankers and these scum. But all of that money for somebody that she knew, Chuck Schumer knew, was going to lose. And now, after she lost her House race, after she lost the Senate race, she now creates a super PAC. She has created a super PAC to help the Democrats in Georgia facing off in their runoff. I guess help them lose too? Can't make this up. Two-time loser with Chuck E. Cheese on her side. Chuck E. Cheese admitted, her strategy's terrible. Chuck E. Cheese had a candidate right in front of him from the eastern mountains of Kentucky who knew the community, who spoke their language, who could have beat McConnell. Probably not as progressive as you or I, but hell of a lot better than Amy McGrath. Chuck E. Cheese said, bye-bye, Matt Jones. And now we have another 6 years of the preeminent turkey, Mitch McConnell. Can't make it up. Yes, Amy McGrath just announced a super PAC. All right. I'm getting full. With these two turkeys, but we got more. And keep those super chats coming if you can. We appreciate any donations in the GoFundMe. I know Jen specifically said to me, definitely urge people to donate. We could use it. We could definitely use it. The funding. Hopefully, the cases don't astronomically expand after Thanksgiving, because I'd like to get back in the field, but obviously we have to be as safe as possible during this pandemic. So, we got to the Cuomo brothers. We got to Chucky and Amy. I want to get to someone you might not have thought about, but to me are two coke turkeys that honestly should not be journalists nationally. And that would be the CNN duo of MJ Lee and Abby Phillips. I hope you guys are sitting down. I don't want to make you angry again, but we gotta gobble on MJ Lee and Abby Phillips. And I know the establishment will rant, how dare you? A black woman, an Asian woman, how dare you attack them? I don't give a damn. What they did is attack-worthy, in my view. So if you recall, the Democratic primary was going along, and Bernie Sanders had really turned the tide. Really turned the tide against Elizabeth Warren. Elizabeth Warren, for a couple months, had really siphoned off a lot of those votes from Bernie Sanders, and it was looking pretty good for Warren. And then, of course, because Warren doesn't stand for anything, Warren started moonwalking on Medicare for All and a whole host of other things. So she kind of needed a last-minute, Hail Mary, so to speak. And MJ Lee started it off for CNN, assisting Elizabeth Warren with this doozy.
Reporting that they discussed ways to beat Donald Trump.
Elizabeth Warren who confirmed that Bernie said this. Thank you for the super chat, Estival Garcia. Warren has time to tweet but not confirm a CNN smear. We got almost 700 people watching, by the way. 300 of you have pressed that like button. It's the thumbs up button right under the video. If we could get another 350 people to press that like button, we'll be well over 1,000. Let's take a look at CNN's report.
Also have reporting that they discussed ways to beat Donald Trump, and that Warren told Bernie Sanders that two major reasons she thought that she would be a strong candidate was because she could mount a robust argument on the economy, and that she thought she could get broad support from female voters. Now, 4 sources tell CNN that Bernie Sanders responded to Elizabeth Warren by saying he does not believe that a woman can win. Now, we are also told that Sanders expressed some frustration about the role of identity politics for Democrats, and also that Elizabeth Warren disagreed with Sanders' assessment that a woman could not win. Now, the Warren campaign did not comment in response to this story, but Bernie Sanders has just sent this statement to CNN. I will read it in full. He says, "It is ludicrous to believe that at the same meeting where Elizabeth Warren told me she was going to run for president, I would tell her that a woman couldn't win. It's sad that 3 weeks before the Iowa caucus and a year after that private conversation, staff who weren't in the room are lying about what happened. What I did say that night was that Donald Trump is a..."
So that trip down memory lane. Let me explain. I don't want to condescend my wonderful audience, but let me explain how that really worked. When they say Elizabeth Warren wouldn't comment on the record, yeah, because Elizabeth Warren and her campaign fed you this bullshit. Excuse my French, swear jar. If you have a meeting and there's 2 people in the meeting and you got 4 sources who confirm or tell you that this was said, I'm pretty sure Bernie Sanders' campaign isn't linking to CNN that Bernie's a evil, sexist, misogynist jerk-off. So who, I ask, could these 4 sources be? And in journalism, you're not supposed to. It's really in the age of the internet and digital media and clickbait and a desperate ploy for profit, a lot of these outlets just basically regurgitate whatever the hell sources told them and present it as news. It really, in a lot of these cases, there's actually no way to actually verify whether any of it's true, but they just report it off as news saying, sources have told us. When I report anonymous sources, it's based on actually having seen corroborating evidence that I was told. Based corroborating evidence that confirms what the anonymous sources have told me. And I keep those sources anonymous in many cases because either they could lose their jobs or face worse consequences. For example, in the Flint water story that Jen and I did. But in this case, 4 anonymous sources are used to basically push a high school gossip. 4 anonymous sources were pushed to essentially pass off high school gossip as hard news reporting to Elizabeth Warren campaign must have seen, wow, we're hemorrhaging progressive votes to Bernie, particularly we're actually losing females to Bernie. Instead of, I don't know, retracting, going back, moonwalking again, saying, you know what, I am for Medicare for all. No bones about it. Instead of pivoting her actual message to win back some of those Bernie voters that she might have lost, she chose to go identity politics on steroids and basically slime a politician, a friend, who frankly was better to her than she deserved for years. She screwed Bernie in 2016. He was still deferential and kind to her. So that's the MG Lee portion of this. That turkey. Now, let's move to Abby Phillips and this journalism.
up in the last 48 hours. Senator Sanders. CNN reported yesterday that, and Senator Warren confirmed in a statement, that in 2018, you told her that you did not believe that a woman could win the election. Why did you say that?
Well, as a matter of fact, I didn't say it. And I don't want to waste a whole lot of time on this, because this is what Donald Trump and maybe some of the media want. Anybody knows me, knows that it's incomprehensible that I would think that a woman could not be president of the United States. Go to YouTube today. There's some video of me 30 years ago talking about how a woman could become president of the United States. In 2015, I deferred, in fact, to Senator Warren. There was a movement to draft Senator Warren to run for president. And you know what? I stayed back. Senator Warren decided not to run, and I did run afterwards. Hillary Clinton won the popular vote by 3 million votes. How could anybody in a million years not believe that a woman could become president of the United States? And let me be very clear. If any of the women on this stage or any of the men on this stage win the nomination, I hope that's not the case. I hope it's me. But if they do, I will do everything in my power to make sure that they are elected in order to defeat the most dangerous president in the history of our country.
So Senator Sanders, I do want to be clear here. You're saying that you never told Senator Warren that a woman could not win the election.
That is correct.
Senator Warren, what did you think when Senator Sanders told you a woman could not win the election?
I disagreed. Bernie is my friend, and I am not here to try to fight with Bernie. But look, this question about whether...
So, did you beat your wife? No, I didn't beat my wife. How did you feel when your husband punched you in the face? I mean, it is absolutely outrageous. If this, literally, in a journalism 101 class, that journalist, Abby Phillips, would be essentially kicked out or given an F. He just told you he didn't say it. So the question to Senator Warren, Senator Sanders is contesting that he said that. Do you want to contest his denial? Is it possible maybe there was a miscommunication? You know, is he lying? Instead, the framing, it's like Bernie Sanders didn't even answer the question. It's almost like we're just going to toss out his denial. And how did you feel when he told you a woman can't become president? That's not inexperience. That's not even bad journalism. That is literally a political attack dressed as journalism. That is CNN actively pushing a narrative broken originally by CNN. This is how it started. Elizabeth Warren's campaign leaks it to MJ Lee. MJ Lee breaks it, reports it as if it's news. And you have days of this sexist, pseudo-wokeness debate. And then they drive it home during the debate. It's a setup. Perfect Carne. It's a setup. Absolutely. And frankly, Bernie Sanders, part of why he's not the president today, there's a lot of reasons, is too nice of a guy, and he didn't know how to go for the jugular. He should have turned around and said, with all due respect, you're lying, Senator Warren. I never said that. And anyone who knows my record, my policies, and who I am as a person knows that I would not say that. And this is all a distraction. And frankly, it seems to me you are very, very welcoming of this distraction since you have lost, since you have ceded ground in the polls to me. And I would have turned to CNN also and attacked them. a source in Bernie's campaign, after the primary, I did a piece on what went wrong in Bernie's campaign, told me that single-handedly, Elizabeth Warren's whole, he told me I can't be a president, a woman can't win. Bernie lost 8 to 10 points of among women. He lost ground 8 to 10 points among women just for that. That is beyond a snake. That's beyond a snake. That is a friggin' alligator. That is an alligator. And Abby Phillips and MJ Lee, this is what identity politics is about. This is what identity journalism is about. We throw different faces. We throw different genders on screen or in print. And it doesn't, and we can't attack them. We can't criticize them. We should just celebrate because we have a black woman as the moderator, or we have an Asian woman as the journalist. Oh, if they're simply basically serving as political henchmen for Elizabeth Warren's failing campaign, who cares? Same thing that Joe Biden's doing right now, naming, women or Latino women to be his intelligence advisors or top positions in intelligence. Abby Martin put it well in our interview recently. Woke imperialism. It's disgusting. And frankly, it's not the only reason he lost, but I think Elizabeth Warren is one of the biggest reasons that Joe Biden is the president today. I do agree. And Trump even pushed this out, and, broken clock, right twice a day. If Elizabeth Warren would have got the hell out of the way, particularly after she lost the New Hampshire primary, Bernie would have probably won the primary. He definitely would have won more states on Super Tuesday, meaning it wouldn't have been a political bloodbath on Super Tuesday for Joe Biden. Super Tuesday essentially ended the primary. All right, we got 250 people watching. Keep pressing the like button. Keep sharing. We're getting to our next turkey. And this is kind of this is one of those parts of Thanksgiving dinner where you go back for seconds. Some of you love that cranberries. Some of you love me. I love marshmallow sweet potato pie. Oh, I could have 3 courses just of marshmallow sweet potato pie. So the next turkey is a continuation of the last turkey. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Elizabeth Warren. It took a lot for me not to name her the top turkey of the year, but I thought that would be too obvious. And I don't think she is the top turkey of the year. She might be the top turkey of the decade. We'll see. But the decade is still young. But we got to get into specifically Elizabeth Warren, who I absolutely believe should be primaried if she runs again for the Senate in 2024. I want to start right here. Stuffing for me. I want to start with Elizabeth Warren. Let's see just who Elizabeth Warren is.
About racial injustice, do you think the order of the primary states should change? You have Iowa and New Hampshire.
Wait, let me just, before you finish, are you actually going to ask me to sit here and criticize Iowa and New Hampshire?
No, I'm asking about the order.
No, that is what Iowa and New Hampshire
let me
are all
just
about.
ask, they're 2 of the whitest states in the country. And then we move to South Carolina with a very significant population of people of color. And it means the candidates spend so much of their time catering to those first 2 states. Overall, do you think that should change?
Look, I'm just a player in the game on this one. And I am delighted to be in South Carolina. Thank you.
Thank you.
Look, just a player in the game. I'm just a player in the game, folks. Oh, damn it. I should have added some snakes to that turkey. So I want to first say, even though she was a Republican back in the day, we all can change. And I do believe, based on everything I saw in 2011, 2012, that Elizabeth Warren's instincts were pure, at least when she entered the Senate. She was a Republican. She voted for Reagan several times, but seems like by 2012 she came around. She came around. It seems like by 2012, we remember, if you were paying attention then, that viral video, you did not make money on your own. You used publicly funded roads. You moved your product to market on our roads. I think Elizabeth Warren, before Washington corrupted her, was legitimately had progressive instincts. From her writings, before she ran for senator, from her writings, she supported universal health care, Medicare for all, or single payer. It wasn't referred to as Medicare for all. And by the way, we're getting very close to our top turkey of the year. So keep pressing that like button, keep sharing. By the way, did I not tell you guys? We're very, very close. It seems like right when we're about to hit 100,000 subscribers, that's when YouTube decides to strangle us to death. Isn't that interesting? So we're right now just 220 subscribers away from 100,000 subscribers. So if you have not subscribed, please press the subscribe button, spread the coup. I hope you're not traveling and having Thanksgiving dinner, but if you're with people during this pandemic, but if you're doing Zooms or other virtual things with family, tell them subscribe. Even if they're right-wing lunatics, tell them subscribe. We'll move them. I promise. So, what's amazing here is Elizabeth Warren. I know we don't need to relitigate 2016. She obviously sold Bernie out. There was no choice, if you're a real progressive, between Hillary Clinton and Bernie. Okay. And after she sold Bernie out in 2016, she lost a lot of her progressive street cred, and she knew that. So if she was going to run again in 2020, I think it is a real indictment of Elizabeth Warren that, remember, Bernie said in 2016, I was ready to step back. Senator Warren, I said, if you run, I'm not going to run. Think about it. The fact that Bernie at 70, I think it was 77 when he ran again, or 78, felt, even though Warren was running, I still need to run. I've criticized Bernie, but I don't think he's a dummy on who's progressive. I truly believe Bernie wised up and realized this is not somebody who's consistent. This is not somebody who is going to make principled compromise. This is somebody who wants power. And I don't want to give her an open lane. So that's why Bernie ran again. So Elizabeth Warren runs, and out of the gate, she actually kind of, at least verbally, is running as a progressive. She supports Medicare for all. She says, her whole branding exercise, I've got a plan for everything, and selfies and whatnot. And she is doing incredibly well. Summer 2019, she's basically at the top. She took the lead summer of 2019, to my dismay. Frankly, a lot of people who voted for Bernie in 2016 moved over to her based on her, at least verbally, saying, I'm for Medicare for all. I'm for a Green New Deal. Let's take it to Wall Street. No super PACs. She was presenting herself as a similar to Bernie, a Bernie knockoff, just a little younger and maybe a little bit more palatable to Wall Street. So why, if it ain't broke, why fix it? If you're in the lead, running on Medicare for all, running on a Green New Deal, no super PACs, whatever, why would you start moonwalking away from those things? Why? Could it be you don't actually believe those things? Could it be you don't actually have a core principle? Yeah, maybe it's true that you think Wall Street is out of control. Maybe it's true that you think Wall Street needs, police on the beat to monitor Wall Street, tighter regulations. Maybe you do believe those things. But at the same time, you're not willing to fight for those things. You're willing to make these internal compromises on policy, on positions, to get in the room. Because somewhere along the line, she even said, I think it was Lawrence Summers, that Wall Street vulture said, you have more power in the room than outside the room, so you got to play the game to get inside the room. But the problem is, Don't matter if you get inside the room. It don't matter if you get a seat at the table. It don't matter if you get the opposite head of the table. Because the other people at the table aren't the ones making the decisions. And Elizabeth Warren really never realized that. You want to know who's making the decisions? Their bosses. The United Corporations of America, goddammit. The donors are making the decisions. So Warren could be in the room. She could sell herself out. She could sell out all her principles. She could sell Bernie down the river and progressives down the river. She could have become, let's say, for argument's sake, she was named Treasury Secretary. Does Elizabeth Warren, is she so naive that she thought she was going to be able to do anything to Wall Street inside that room other than a couple Band-Aids like Dodd-Frank, which was a joke of Wall Street regulation after the financial crash? Did she truly believe that she was going to break up big banks if she's in the room? Or regulate banking if she's in the room? You have to literally rearrange the whole goddamn room. So, for some unexplained reason, probably because she was in the lead, but she knew, or she thought, all right, even if I win the primary here, I'm not going to get the usual suspect support. I'm not going to win without money. And they're not going to, Wall Street, all the people that I pretend to hate, they're not going to give me money if I stick with Medicare for all and these things. So all of a sudden, she started changing her strategies, Like here.
Progressive competitor Bernie Sanders. Here she goes.
Democrats want to beat Donald Trump. They're nervous about a narrow vision that just doesn't speak to the Americans who see real problems and want to see real change. But they are also worried about gambling on a revolution that won't bring along a majority of this country. I am a Democrat through and through. I have rock solid values and I know how to get things done. I don't want to be president just to yell at people. I want to be president to change things. That's why I'm going there.
So let's get this straight. Elizabeth Warren was literally leading the pack in the Democratic primary in the summer. A couple months before Iowa, she was number one. She was surging. Supporting Medicare for all, supporting a Green New Deal, no super PACs, grassroots donations, no big fundraisers, even though she did a lot of fundraisers with rich people during her Senate reelection in 2018, and then just took the money that rich people gave her for her Senate reelection, transferred it over to her presidential. So it was kind of an accounting trick she pulled. Thank you, Cheryl Tyler, $20. Warren, the Harvard professor, I'm going to get me a beer, is the quintessential sellout and backstabber. Well, wait for the next two turkeys, Cheryl. So you're winning, but then you decide I'm going to moonwalk away from the things that are the reason I'm winning. Medicare for all softened her position on money in politics. Said, I take their money during the general. We can't unilaterally disarm, which is a famous excuse corporate Democrats use to take money from bankers, fossil fuckers, big pharma, big real estate, Silicon Valley, and the rest. And then you start nosediving, and then you turn around, and after your ridiculous Hail Mary leaking to CNN that Bernie told you a woman can't win, which was bullshit, then you start this approach, we don't need a revolution, and we can't be narrow-minded. Okay, so you're basically attacking Bernie because all he does is talk about revolution and his narrow-mindedness, but you were proposing the same exact things, his narrow-mindedness. You were proposing exactly that narrow-minded agenda like 5 minutes earlier. You were proposing Medicare for all. You were proposing all these things. Jacqueline DeBlue, 100 pounds across the pond. Jacqueline, I just can't thank you enough. Always, always supporting us. And it really makes a difference, Jacqueline. I hope you never think we take it for granted. Your support has been amazing. Thank you so much. Jacqueline, 100 pounds. It's an embarrassment of riches, really. How do you choose? They all suck. They all have slappable faces and kickable asses. They're all loathsome. What they don't have, though, is a turkey face. Are lovely. Go vegan or at least veggie. Marjorie T. Green, though. You know what? I don't know if I could ever go vegan, but it might come a day that I consider vegetarian, but I don't want to promise anything because my wife is in the chat and she'll hold me to it. Our first, well, no, this is our second Thanksgiving together. First Thanksgiving together as a married couple. So I want to play this clip because to me, let me just say this simply, and some of you might disagree with me. There's two types of politicians that are pure and politicians that want power. Sometimes there's some gray area, but that's generally the two corners. Elizabeth Warren, even if she thought Bernie screwed her, which he didn't, even if she felt Bernie didn't condemn his supporters hard enough for, the crime of criticizing her online or snake emojis. This is somebody who wants to lead the army. This is somebody who wants to deal with natural disasters as president, possibly deal with a nuclear-armed countries, potential attacks, but she can't handle snake emojis. Are you kidding me? Elizabeth Warren, at her purest, is about herself over actually enacting progressive change. And I think this clip shows that exactly.
Seem to be a path to make that happen. I think there's a real problem with this online bullying and sort of organized nastiness. And I'm not just talking about who said mean things. I'm talking about some really ugly stuff that went on. We are responsible for the people who claim to be our supporters and do really threatening, ugly, dangerous things to other
And it's
candidates.
a particular problem with Sanders' supporters.
It is. I mean, and it just is.
A lot of postmortems on his campaign credit you, basically, with single-handedly tanking his candidacy with the way you took him apart in that debate. Is that what you were trying to do?
Yes.
Do you take credit?
Sure. But the point is, he's not going to be the Democratic nominee, and he shouldn't be the Democratic nominee. And
Were you trying to destroy his campaign? Yes. Were you, do you think you tanked his campaign? Yes. Sure. And he shouldn't be the nominee. Instead, we should have Joe Biden, the guy who pushed through the very bill that I launched my political career on, the bankruptcy bill. This is what I'm saying. And, all of the college-educated, people, whatever, you're not a bad person if you are college-educated. You're not a bad person if you have an advanced degree. That's not what I'm saying. But all of these women over the age of 45, college-educated, were slobbering over Elizabeth Warren. Oh, she's so smart. She's so strategic. She's so clever. Such a fighter. When in reality, she was a petty, vindictive politician. Not the first petty, vindictive politician. Plenty of men are equally as vindictive. But that clip just shows you her North Star is not progressivism. It's not the progressive movement. Her North Star is herself. And because she felt that Bernie didn't police snake emojis enough, she chose to try to tank his campaign with high school gossip that she knows he didn't say. It takes a certain type of person to just intentionally, knowingly lie. So that's why I really don't want to hear anything about Elizabeth Warren being a good choice for anything. Because Elizabeth Warren has sold the progressive movement down the river and will continue to sell the progressive movement down the river because she's about herself. And ultimately, as she told you, she's just a player in the game. Elizabeth Warren, one of the top turkeys of the year. Now we got two more. We got two more turkeys to go. And this was a real tough choice, folks. This is a real tough choice because ultimately the next turkey could have been number one. Could have been number one. And I think a lot of people will want this next turkey to be number one. But I thought it would be too obvious. I thought it would be too easy for this next person to be selected as the top turkey of the year. So I made this person the number 2 turkey of the year. And I hope my father's not watching. He's going to be very upset. Gobble, gobble. Thank you, Canvas Dancer, $5. Beside the 2 turkeys Trump pardoned yesterday, he pardoned Michael Flynn today. Oh, is it official? I'm not surprised. He'll probably, pardon every criminal and maybe try to pardon himself preemptively. We'll see. Peace Walker, $5. Primary her. I will be 100% covering any primary challenge to her. And remember, folks, you're welcome to donate in our GoFundMe as well. We could really use the funds. And for those coming late, somebody just asked, I said it at the top, but Jen's fever is fortunately a little bit down today. It's in the hundreds. She went physically today to get a coronavirus test. Her cough is getting worse today. So the fever is down, but the cough is getting worse. She feels like death, she told me. I think it's pretty obvious. We'll wait for the test, but all her symptoms are of COVID. So definitely keep sending her your well wishes. That's a picture of her yesterday that she sent to me. So this next turkey is well-deserved. Ladies and gentlemen, gobble it up for Rudy Giuliani and his hair dye / sweat / whatever the hell that was coming down his sides. Rudy Giuliani, who, frankly, if you live in New York, was, idolized. It was like a fantasy novel made out of this guy, basically for a couple photo ops after 9/11 and for cracking down, as mayor, cracking down on black people and criminalizing black people. Many of whom, by the way, kudos to Colin on this graphic. I literally bothered him to redo this graphic 3 times. 3 times. Yeah, if only you knew. If only you knew. The amount of times I asked Colin to redo graphics. He is truly, as the Jews say, a mensch. But Rudy Giuliani, I don't know why. I don't know if he's got a lot of debt. I'm a journalist, so I don't want to pass off rumors. But we've heard, there has been rumors from time to time about Rudy and his drinking. Likes to gamble, so maybe he just needs cash. I don't know. But Rudy Giuliani, for some reason, has politically prostituted himself for President Trump to the point where he's literally, you can't make up Onion headlines that people would even believe on terms of Rudy Giuliani. Let's just take a look here. Rudy, at his absurd press conference, which probably gave Jen coronavirus last week. Nope, hold on.
We have statisticians tonight, 700,000 or 800,000 in Pennsylvania. Somehow he lost Pennsylvania. We have statisticians willing to testify that that's almost statistically impossible to have happened in the period of time that it happened. But of course, that's just speculation. Tonight, 700,000 or 800,000, which to any experienced investigator, prosecutor, would suggest that there was they got is from here to the back of that room. We could do like a, did you all watch My Cousin Vinny? You know the movie? It's one of my favorite law movies because he comes from Brooklyn. And when the nice lady who said she saw, and then he says to her, how many fingers do I got up? And she says, 3. Well, she was too far away to see it was only 2. These people were further away than my cousin Vinny was from the witness. They couldn't see a thing. Now, I don't know. You're going to tell me that 60 people are lying? They didn't just tell me this. They swore under penalty of perjury, which is something no Democrat's ever done. You don't even ask Biden about this. You don't put him under penalty of perjury. He doesn't even get asked questions about it. He doesn't get asked questions about all the evidence.
Listen, I got to be fair. I've been taking it to Joe Biden for the last, I don't know, year, saying there's clearly something going on up here. We got to have a similar standard because something, either this guy is completely grifting or something is no longer working. The wiring is no longer working. Because my cousin Vinny is the evidence of a widespread election cabal. My cousin Vinny. This is one of my favorite parts.
If she's working, I assume, if she's working for the, I assume if she's working for the city of Detroit, that she's a Democrat. I assume if she's working for the, I assume if she's working for the city of Detroit, that she's a Democrat. I assume if she's working for the, I assume if she's working for the city of Detroit, that she's a Democrat. I assume.
And the best part of this freak show, I mean, you can't see her, but to the left of Rudy, you got the QAnon conspiracy theorist, leopard-loving Sidney Powell, who sprinkled into this insanity that Rudy was spewing, accused Venezuela and China of being in on the election fraud cabal to steal the election from Trump, giving it to Biden. So you got leopard claws over there, and she's a major QAnon person. You got Rudy melting, sweating out his alcohol. I'm just being honest. People with drinking problems sweat. Sweating, dripping. I don't know what it was, hair dye or something. Frankly, I think it's a marvel. I don't know how Rudy Giuliani does not have coronavirus yet. It's possible he does, and he's just not telling anyone. His son was at that press conference and announced the next day he was COVID positive. Today, this morning, as I announced at the beginning of this live stream, Boris Epstein, who was another maskless moron standing up there with Rudy and Sidney and the whole gang, he announced that he had coronavirus. So I don't know. Is Rudy immune? Is he a super human? It's just insane. And it's a disgrace. I never respected Rudy Giuliani anyway. He targeted black people as mayor of New York, and then, whoa, he gets credited because crime went down in New York. Yeah, because you invented a lot of the crime. You concocted a lot of the crime. You busted, black people selling drugs because there are no jobs, so that's all they could do. So he targeted black people, targeted brown people in New York City, and was praised as, America's mayor. Then did a few courageous photo ops after 9/11. So he had a good track record, at least in the media, they loved him. But, he's gobbled it up, so to speak. He has gobbled it up and then some. So finally, Jen, who, because of that selfish asshole, Rudy Giuliani, now has coronavirus. Again, we don't have the test back, but she's got all the symptoms. Jen challenged Rudy. Let's take a trip down memory lane.
You alleged that Donald Trump has won by a landslide. We've seen that a lot of your lawsuits and in fact lawyers have been kind of dropping like flies. What do you say to those people who call this a Russiagate 2.0 just on the other side? Why didn't this, and also why didn't this happen in 2016?
What fake network do you come from?
I don't come up from a fake network. In fact, I am completely independent, have no one above my head. We're Status Coup, independent.
First of all, our cases haven't been dismissed. We only have
over 20
plaintiffs who were involved in this.
and also many lawyers.
Don't lie to
So
people.
I'm saying, what do you say to those who call this Russiagate 2.0? I think that we can say that Democrats have a lot to say, that they kind of went way over their head, pointing Russia, everything. What do you say to those who call this you guys doing the same sort of thing?
Answer the question. The answer to the question is, we don't have a lot of lawsuits. We only have 3. Our lawsuits have not been dropped all over the place.
You did mention at the top that lawyers had to go away because they were afraid for publicly.
You're a totally discourteous person. I'm going to finish my answer. So,
I'm actually really nice.
I'm going to finish my answer. The fact is we have very few lawsuits. The lawsuits you're talking about have been brought by private individuals and groups. Most of them were dismissed for lack of standing, probably correctly, because they were brought before the election took place. The election is now over. The only lawsuit we have withdrawn is the one where we got the relief that we wanted, and that's the one in Michigan. We also have another lawsuit in Michigan that will accomplish the other objectives of what we want to do in Michigan. So it's silly to have 2 competing lawsuits. The only lawyer that left a case left because he was threatened. His family was threatened. His children were threatened. And so was the other lawyer. Yeah, that's true. We have a little difficulty getting lawyers because our lawyers get threatened with being killed because of the ridiculous way in which you cover this and the ridiculous way in which you cover
Well, you haven't seen how I've covered this. Now, what about the point about
you don't learn about
Russiagate?
everybody, but I get a pretty good sense from the way you handle yourself.
I don't think you should. You should look us up. Status Coup. What about the?
Oh, boy. Kudos to Jen, by the way, who, frankly, as a result of being the only actual journalist in that room to actually challenge him, the rest of them were out to lunch listening to this lunacy, this insane lunacy, election fraud cabal that, by the way, some progressive channels are still pushing. She's now in bed with over 100 fever, a bad cough, severe fatigue. She did have some breathing issues yesterday. So kudos to Jen. And, I'm updating you as best I can. But, nobody could get into Rudy's, mind. But there's been reporting that he might have been asking Trump's campaign for $20,000 a day to keep up with this charade. But, remember, let's go back to the definition of what a political turkey is. Goon, loser, clown, hypocrite. Can you think of any better words for Rudy Giuliani? I think goon is the top selection for Rudy Giuliani, who, frankly, even though his original media-created wonderful reputation, he shouldn't have had that reputation in the first place, he's now ruined it, essentially, to serve as Donald Trump's 24/7 turkey. I don't know what else to say. It is truly, truly sad. So, Rudy Giuliani is our runner-up. Our runner-up top turkey of the year, which brings us, folks, and we got almost 400 people watching. Smash that like button. More people that press like, the more people that will see this. There's a lot of anticipation for the top turkey. A lot of people thought it should be Warren. A lot of people thought it should have been Rudy. I had to sleep on this one, but I really think that the top turkey of the year is, frankly, somebody that unfortunately we're going to have to deal with for years to come. I think that the top turkey of the year, frankly, is a major reason why Bernie Sanders is not sitting as president. I think the top turkey of the year is the definition of a neoliberal hack. And I think the top turkey of the year is none other. Drum roll, please. Pete Buttigieg. Pete effing Buttigieg. Who, frankly, is America's turkey. And I think Mayor Pete, is Obama, Clyburn, Biden, all wrapped into one chiseled specimen. Now, to take you through this top turkey, we have to start really at the beginning of the meal. And I learned about Pete Buttigieg thanks to you. You all helped me. You all sent me to South Bend before the Iowa caucus to actually dig and find out just who is Pete Buttigieg. Because frankly, the media really tried to push another Obama 2.0. The media really tried to make another Obama, just younger, white, and gay. And this was a Super Bowl of platitudes coming out of this man's mouth. I don't even know one actual policy. Medicare for all who want it, which is nothing. It doesn't mean anything. Pass the torch, new generation, yada, yada, yada. But in reality, if a journalist, because some journalists actually went to South Bend and did some reporting, very few, none from CNN, actually went to South Bend, they would have seen that his top accomplishment in South Bend was actually bulldozing the homes of black and brown people. Remember that? Bulldozing 1,000 homes in 1,000 days? If you've never seen this, I'm not going to play the whole video, but here is, if you want to watch the whole video, here is the report we did in South Bend, driving around to show you Mayor Pete's top accomplishment as mayor of South Bend. Let's take a look.
It's very similar.
But you've received some backlash from me and from others about your 1,000 houses in 1,000 days initiative, and something you have touted as a success. But the issue is it disproportionately affected African Americans in South Bend, and African Americans constitute 26% of the population in South Bend. And in fact, African Americans who weren't able to repair their homes lost their homes. They were either demoed or they were sold to white folks.
Wow, looks like a forest in the city. Empty lots. So right there you got beautiful museum and rebuilt castles, and right behind it you have fallen apart, empty lots, forests in the city. This is all under Buttigieg. And the streets, although you're not experiencing them with us, I can tell you they're not even. Look at this. Just looks like a war zone.
So that gives you just a taste of what an accomplished turkey Pete Buttigieg is. The other accomplishments of this top turkey was gentrifying like 4 blocks, the downtown area of South Bend, beautifying 4 blocks, spending, I think, $25 million on a light show in the waterfall to make the waterfall in the river there show, different colors at night, to basically attract businesses from Chicago to come to downtown South Bend by giving them, essentially paying them to do so, paying them to come. No, you don't have to pay taxes, nothing. And bulldozing homes in black and brown parts of the town, basically so you could further gentrify. Also, while we reported there, we found out that they actually, his administration and him, paid black-owned businesses to leave, to literally move like down the road to a different city. So anyone who, if they would have actually done the most basic journalism of Pete Buttigieg, would have realized this guy is a neoliberal, Notre Dame, latte sipping, elitist. And frankly, a racist. Maybe not verbally, but by policy, absolutely. So that's who Pete Buttigieg is. But all of it, the media just concocted this image and concocted this candidate to the point where he was leading at one point. He was seriously leading. And heading into Iowa, they had created this candidate that a lot of people thought was the future. The next Obama. Progressive, smart, gay. To the point that you start to wonder, is there a legitimate election fraud cabal to elect Pete Buttigieg? Remember? Des Moines Register, for the first time in the history of the poll, cancels the last poll because one person polled told them Pete Buttigieg wasn't given as an option. We have to cancel the entire poll, which, by the way, once it was leaked, showed Bernie Sanders in the lead by 5 or 6 points a few days before the Iowa caucus, and Pete Buttigieg, I believe, in third. We need to cancel the entire poll because one person said, well, Pete Buttigieg wasn't given as an option. Riddle me this. Do you think if a voter or somebody in Iowa called the Des Moines Register a couple days before the Iowa caucus and said, I'm very concerned because I was called and Bernie Sanders was not given as an option. Do you think the Des Moines Register would have canceled its final poll and not release it? Which, by the way, let's not be naive here. Polls do matter. It pushes a public narrative, and who is in the lead right before the caucus or the primary, it affects how voters think about who they're going to vote for. It does affect voter behavior. But all of a sudden, the Des Moines Register just cancels its final poll because of one person who wasn't offered Petey. Sneaky Pete. You don't think the Pete Buttigieg campaign had something to do with that? You don't think maybe the DNC had a little something to do with that? Then we get to one of the most outrageous, arrogant, ballsy things I have ever seen. And I've been covering this corrupt political system for many, many years. Pete Buttigieg comes out before there's any results for the Iowa caucus and declares victory.
By your effort, and it was by your effort, we brought together an extraordinary coalition of Americans, progressives, moderates, and that good number of what we like to call future former Republicans. And that's how we're going to win in November. Because it's about adding people to our cause. What a night! Because tonight, an improbable hope became an undeniable reality. So we don't know all the results. But we know by the time it's all said and done, Iowa, you have shocked the nation. Because by all indications, we are going on to New Hampshire victorious.
Victorious! Victorious! Can you imagine if Bernie Sanders would have come out and declared himself the winner with no results? This man, this turkey, comes out, declares himself the winner, and CNN, MSNBC, the New York Times, the Washington Post, they are all too happy to push that narrative. Which, by the way, because I went to New Hampshire next, gave him a 10-point bump in the New Hampshire polls in 5 days. Talk about a gobble and gobble scam. This is actually election fraud. It's election fraud by the media. It's election fraud by the candidates. There was also fraudulent reporting of the results. Remember, literally amateurs on Twitter were posting the precincts that the Iowa State Party is reporting as going to Pete. That was my precinct, and I have the sheet right here, and Bernie won that precinct, but they're giving it to Pete, or giving it to Biden, or giving it to Warren. Do you remember this? It was all over Twitter. I actually looked through all of those. I spoke with people from those precincts, and in many of those cases, Pete did not win those precincts, yet the Iowa State Party declared Pete the winner of those precincts, and that's how the caucus system works. I thought, I've said it, and I've said it. I think Bernie made a mistake not challenging this narrative, not going to court to sue, not going hard on all the networks saying he won the Iowa caucus and Pete is lying. Then we find out, oh my God, there's an app. There's an app scandal. And shockingly, Buttigieg campaign was involved with the app. Remember this? Person with knowledge of the company's culture who asked to remain anonymous, talking about the Shadow app, shared communication showing that top officials at the company regularly expressed hostility to Bernie Sanders supporters. McGowan, who was the head of Shadow app, is married to Michael Hale, a senior strategist with the Buttigieg campaign. I know, folks, I'm triggering you, but got to report it accurately. Federal campaign finance records show that the Iowa Democratic Party and the Nevada Democratic Party retained Shadow to develop its caucus app. Shadow has also retained for digital services by Buttigieg's campaign, which paid the company $42,500 for software-related services last July. Folks, I'm a journalist. I ain't a conspiracy theorist, but there was fraud, and it came in the Iowa caucus. There was no need for an app to deliver the results. They could have done it the good old way that never failed, precinct by precinct, calling the state party with the results, pick up the phone, call. But Tom Perez felt the need to use an app, the Shadow app, which just so happened to the founders happened to be veterans of Hillary Clinton's 2016 campaign. And they had a major bone to pick with Bernie. And then the app was used by Pete's campaign. But no, there's nothing to see here. Nothing to see here. Then Pete goes out, declares himself the winner, gets hundreds of millions. You don't understand. The Iowa caucus winner, the bump, is worth hundreds of millions of dollars of free media. A lot of people start paying attention after the Iowa caucus, not political diehards. They take notice. Who won the Iowa caucus? It helped Biden. It helped Obama extensively win the primary and the presidency, shocking the world in Iowa. That was deprived. Bernie was deprived. The progressives were deprived of that victory when he won 6,000 more votes on the first count. Then it went to the second count. He won, 2,000 more votes? But then, through the app, through Tom Perez getting involved, and remember, he tried to water down how much the satellite locations would mathematically count, because those satellite locations in the caucus went overwhelmingly to Bernie Sanders. Sorry, Convo Couch, this was the election fraud, not Rudy Giuliani, that miserable idiot turkey, not that cockamamie gobbling conspiracy that the election was stolen from Trump. Iowa was the election fraud. And frankly, if not for the app, if not for Tom Perez and his shenanigans, if not for Pete Buttigieg coming out declaring victory and then the media basically regurgitating that lie, he did not win the Iowa caucus. I think Bernie Sanders wins the New Hampshire primary by 5 to 6 points, not 1 point. Remember, Pete got a 10-point bump, which resulted in Bernie only winning New Hampshire by 1, which, remember, the media essentially declared Pete the winner of New Hampshire, too, because he wasn't expected to come that close. So here you have the media narrative gets set. Pete won Iowa, so Bernie didn't win Iowa, and Bernie barely won New Hampshire. And then after Bernie clobbers in Nevada, the media collectively freaks the fuck out. I'm not saying Bernie is innocent in all this. He was weak. I said it during the primary. I say it now. He was weak. He did not go for the political jugular. He let Pete lie. He let Biden lie. He should have went after Biden for all of his lies, particularly on civil rights. I even think with Clyburn's endorsement, if Bernie would have went after Biden for lying about meeting with Mandela in apartheid South Africa, for lying about participating in civil rights sit-ins, for the crime bill, which Bernie did vote for, but he came out publicly and said it was a mistake, should have attacked Biden for standing by it. I don't think Biden would have won South Carolina by 30 points. I just don't. He would have won by a lot, but not 30 points, which gave Biden all the momentum he needed, which then helped the media, as I've reported. I mean, Biden got over $100 million in free advertising between South Carolina and Super Tuesday. You look at the exit polls, half of Biden's voters decided in those final days before Super Tuesday to vote for him. But the domino started with Iowa. And whatever, it's not worth relitigating for years and years and years. But the next progressive candidate needs to learn. Don't let this sniveling, elitist, neoliberal turkey steal the Iowa caucus. Because if Bernie didn't let Pete and the media steal the Iowa caucus, I do believe Bernie would have won by a larger margin in New Hampshire. I do believe he would have won by even more in Nevada, even though he clobbered in Nevada. I do believe, frankly, if Bernie would have won New Hampshire by significantly more, if Pete didn't get that artificial 10-point bump by falsely being declared the winner of the Iowa caucus. Again, he got a 10-point bump from Iowa to New Hampshire by falsely being declared the winner. I believe. I don't think Bernie loses South Carolina by that much. And I also think Elizabeth Warren probably would have dropped out. If Bernie would have won New Hampshire by significantly more, I think Elizabeth Warren and Bernie probably would have struck some kind of deal. A lot of people progressives might have not liked it. Maybe Bernie would give her VP or Treasury or whatever. But I think because Bernie didn't win New Hampshire by more than a point, Elizabeth Warren felt she was still in there. And I think, as I outlined earlier, she wanted to stick it to Bernie because she's a snake. I mean, this guy is the definition of a turkey. And he's a turkey that we're going to have to get used to. My guess is Biden's going to name him either VA secretary or HUD secretary. Both would be a disaster. He's a goon. He's a loser. He's a clown. He's a hypocrite. He is, frankly, a liar. I think he might not be Trump racist, but he's racist in a different way. In a way that has harmed black and brown people in South Bend, and that would harm black and brown people nationally if he ever got to the White House. And fittingly, I want to end with the biggest insult to injury. Sorry to have to trigger you this way, folks. But here is the current president-elect showering Pete with misguided affection. Sorry to do this to you.
A great friend of our campaign, and it is an honor to be here with Vice President.
Word between us since we started to compete, and I think that it's clear to everyone that this is a man who is not only brilliant but is decent, and this is a man who, when I called Pete when he got out, which surprised me when he said he was going to suspend his campaign. I didn't ask Pete to endorse me, but I called him and told him that we needed him to stay engaged. We needed him badly to be involved. Because when he talked in the campaign, in the debates about passing the torch to the next generation, that's absolutely essential. And I am absolutely confident, with further exposure of the nation to Pete and to all he stands for and all he'll do and all he can do, that there is no limitation on what this man can get done. And the fact that he's prepared to help me means a great deal to me. I don't think I've ever done this before, but he reminds me of my son, Beau. And I know that may not mean much to most people, but to me it's the highest compliment I could give any man or woman. And that is that, like Beau, he had a backbone he has a backbone like a ramrod. I really mean this. And think about it. You've heard me, some of you have heard me say this before. When I got elected, the same age Pete got elected, 29, people...
I'm not going to comment on Biden's son. Sad that he lost his son, obviously. No mistaking that. It's terrible that he lost his son. But he's got a backbone like a ramrod, Pete Buttigieg. He's got a tail as a dog tail as long as the eye can see. He's that dog hiding that he just ate your cookie. And Stark, $5. Jordan, please make it stop. There's nothing more nauseating than Mayo Pete. So, folks, did I get it right? Was he the right turkey? I think Pete Buttigieg deserves the #1 turkey. Now you're not eating tomorrow? Oh, no, I've ruined everybody's Thanksgiving. Pete was a plant. You might be right. You might be right. And by the way, let's just keep it real here. Status Quo's website suddenly went down when we were in South Bend, Indiana, and when we broke a story about Pete's police officers saying racist things during an arrest of a black man. We broke a story in December of last year that Pete's South Bend police basically were playing out scenes from Django Unchained, glorifying Klansmen from the movie Django Unchained with Jamie Foxx. We broke that story, and all of a sudden our website went down like 5 minutes later. Interesting timing. We had reached out, of course, to Pete's campaign about did he have a comment. They didn't respond, but all of a sudden our website went down. This is kind of interesting. Just saying, never had a problem with the website until then, but you know. All right, folks. I mean, I am full. I've had too much turkey. Now I got to start having some whiskey to wash down the turkey. But before I go, let me know in the super chat, did I miss anybody? I know. Yes, Obama, of course. Obama might be on another list I do at the end of the year. But I think I got the worst of the worst turkeys. Biden, yeah. I think that was too obvious. Oh, Convo Couch? You know, I happen to like Fiorella. I met her once. You know, I don't have anything against her, so I won't call her a turkey. But I will say, whatever the fuck they're doing now is not journalism. It's not. It's just insane conspiracizing. No, we're all full. Well, I'm glad. Chris Matthews, yeah, that would have been a good one, actually. He's probably crying this Thanksgiving. No longer has a show. Joyce, I usually watch on my smart TV, but had to open my laptop to comment on how brilliant I think Jordan is. Why, thank you, Joyce. Let me screenshot that for my ego. No, I'm kidding. Thank you. Andrew Cuomo. Andrew, I already did the Cuomos. For those of you that came late, let me go down the list again so you know all of the top turkeys of the year in order. We started with the brothers Cuomos. Then we moved to Chuck Schumer and Amy McGrath. Then we moved to CNN's dynamic sleaze duo of MJ Lee and Abby Phillips, Elizabeth Warren's henchmen. Then we moved to Elizabeth Warren herself. Then we moved to my cousin Vinny, Rudy Giuliani, and his gook. Then we moved to Mayor CIA himself, the top turkey of 2020, Mayor Pete Buttigieg. I know, Anthony Damasco, $5. Bernie, man, totally blew it. By the way, Anthony Damasco, who just left the $5, is single-handedly saving Status Coup. As a reminder, our website got hacked. We learned this recently. That's how many members we've lost since April. Through Anthony digging, he's a tech developer. He's been doing it for us basically for free. He found that a huge number of the losses we've had in members, upwards of 200 members, didn't actually cancel, but because of, we don't know for sure, but we believe because of the website hack, there were viruses put in to the back end of our website, and it affected the payments going through. Not, your financial information didn't go anywhere. It's safe. It wasn't stolen. It's not even stored on our website. That's with Stripe and PayPal. But Anthony found and has compiled a list of people who were wrongly made inactive. So after Thanksgiving, I have, Jen will help when she's starting to feel better, have the very, very unattractive task of individually reaching out to all these members who were wrongly purged. So that's a good reminder. Check your status. You could go to statuscoup.com. And once you get to statuscoup.com, hover over. Let me find it here. Go to statuscoup.com. Then you hover over Become a Member. Once you click on Become a Member, you'll see subscriptions. Click on Subscriptions. And once you click on Subscriptions, from there, you should see your account status. Let me see if I still have the screenshot. Yeah, right here. You should see if you're active. It'll say yes or no. If it says no and you didn't actually cancel it, you should see a resubscribe tab here. If you don't see that resubscribe and there's a bunch of other stuff like cancel, you'll have to actually cancel and then sign up again like you did the first time. But the good news is we have Anthony now. He's monitoring our site, so we're not going to have any other issues going forward. So thank you, Anthony. And, I just didn't really have the heart to make Bernie a turkey. I mean, I've criticized Bernie. I think he was weak, but I don't have it in me I can't make Bernie a turkey. I guess I'm a Bernie bro. What can I tell you? I criticize him when he's wrong, but I don't think he's a turkey. All right, let me read some comments, questions, concerns before I go. Thank you all for the super chats that came in. Thank you. Not the last call. You could donate whenever you want, but feel free, drop it in the GoFundMe. Let me see where we're at in terms of our march to 100,000. We are, so close. I could taste it. We are now 218 members. 218 subscribers away. 218 subscribers away from hitting 100,000. So please, if you haven't subscribed to our channel, do so. And tell your friends, tell your family to subscribe. I'd love to hit 100,000 as soon as possible. Let me read the comments, questions, concerns. Jen's fever. Yes, Jen, fever is slightly down, but the cough is worse. Anthony, dude, he totally was, man, at the end. I know. I just can't. I don't have it in me to put his face on a turkey. I think he's more naive than a turkey. Turkeys need to unionize. Bernie is a rooster. I admire him. I just wanted him to go WWE on the establishment. I wanted him to go WWF, Ultimate Warrior style. Old school WWF. Not this new school WWE, which is... I used to love the WWF back in the day when I was a kid, but I don't watch it anymore. It's garbage. Pookie, we need an update on Jen. Pookie, I've given it 5 times. Her fever is slightly down. Her cough has gone up. Her cough has gotten worse. She went physically to get a test today. So I think it's going to take a few days. Probably would take longer due to the holidays. But, I mean, she's got every symptom. Fever, cough, fatigue, and slight breathing issues. Nothing crazy at this point. So I would, I think it's safe to assume she has coronavirus, but we could confirm it once we get the test back. But as of now, I think it's pretty safe to say she has coronavirus, at least the symptoms of coronavirus. And this morning, Boris Epstein, another one of these massless morons that were standing next to Rudy Giuliani at this press conference, announced he has coronavirus. So that's 2 people, Rudy's son, Andrew Giuliani, and Boris, who are COVID positive that were there without a mask on the day Jen was covering it. So I think it's pretty likely that she got it from this event, probably. All right. Thank you for watching. I will be off for Thanksgiving. Probably going to take off too on Friday. Have a nice long weekend with the wife and relax. I hope everybody has a nice holiday. Please be safe. I'm not your mother, but I hope you're not traveling. I hope you're not getting together in person with too many people for Thanksgiving. Don't think just because it's your family or your friends that, or they say they've been safe. I was safe. I wore a mask when I was outside in April, and I got coronavirus. So it's not 100% foolproof wearing a mask. It obviously decreases the chances of getting it. But definitely, if you are going to go somewhere, make sure it's a very small gathering, and make sure, other than eating, I would wear a mask inside. And when eating, try to sit as far away as you can, particularly if you're sitting with older people. So thank you for all the support. I don't want to be cheesy, but as somebody who, not so long ago didn't know if they were going to have a future in journalism, I'm very grateful for the coup community. No matter how big Status Coup gets, I always want it to be a coup community. That's why we created the Discord for members, which I try to get in there as much as I can. As you know, if you're a Status Coup member, you get access to our Discord and our monthly members calls, which we were going to do this week, but obviously Jen's not feeling well, so we'll do it when she is feeling well. We do a members call every week, other behind-the-scenes content, but I'm very grateful to have not just dedicated viewers, but I think just like really good people supporting us. And that's why I do this, to bring, not just to bring justice for communities like Flint and elsewhere, but to, continually, as best as I can, inform you, entertain you, enlighten you, because everybody, by and large, is just great. and I'm so thankful to have you guys as viewers. So thank you guys. Have a great holiday. Thank you, Al, Super Chat for Jen, $10. And I will see you after the holiday. Peace out.